Hello, everybody out there in Facebook land, TikTok world, YouTube, everywhere there's going to be a clip of this live or recorded. Welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions, the art of Monty Anderson. And today's title is Getting Back into the Groove of Things. Technically, it's just getting back into the groove, but we got to put in things because you're getting back into the groove of everything. I was technically out one solid week, you know. So it's getting back into the groove of everything. But welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. I am Monty Anderson, your host here at 412 Productions. And let some of our regulars get back in here, get in here, all that good stuff, and make things happen. So, what are y'all doing out there? Y'all doing having a good time, having fun? I know it's bright and early in the morning. Some places it could be a couple hours earlier, could be a couple hours less, but it is 4:12. It's 4:13 now, but we went live at 4:12, just like our production channel, 412 Productions. So, getting back into the groove of things, that's everything, man. When you're out a solid week, dealing with all the aftermath of everything, of the funeral, and being with your mom and all that good stuff, and then you get back to your place of residence and you have to get back into the swing of everything. That's balancing out the artwork with the homestead, with the relationship, with, just all that good stuff. So, welcome to the broadcast booth, everybody. Welcome, Casey. Welcome, welcome, everybody. But getting back into the groove, that can take you a hot minute because, especially whenever you're trying to balance everything out and get everything, back to a semblance of where it was before you left. Because you don't want the same aesthetics as where you were. Because some things just weren't working out. Some things were getting good to see you too, man. And some things were getting neglected, like chores or homesteading side, which means the garden, the animals, all that good stuff. Not that they're neglected, it's just that you don't spend as much time with each one. Because, like in the garden right now, I need to be making sure the pH balance is correct in the soil. I need to chop off any lower branches that aren't producing any, vegetables. All that kind of stuff. I need to make sure that they're not too crowded in there when it comes to certain vegetables like beets or radishes or carrots and things of that nature. And then you got to make sure your beans have something to climb on so that they're not just laying on the ground. And all of that, you have to have a balance too. And so you got to get back into the groove of maintaining, if you will. And sometimes that's difficult when you take a break. It is 63 degrees here. It feels heavenly outside. Now, during the daytime portion of everything, it's not so grand just because, it's getting muggy. And it's like one of those things where you just don't want to go outside because you're getting so much rain. The sun's out the next day, and it's just so humid outside. It just like when I got back from Afghanistan. Whenever I went to Louisiana for a school, and so you go from Afghanistan to Colorado, almost the same altitude, and then you go to Louisiana, which is below altitude. And I looked like the only one coming out of the shower every time I stepped outside the barracks because I just poured sweat. And that's kind of the way it is right now when you go outside just to do anything. We just took a huge haul of of restocking supplies basically for the homestead, Got some free materials from somebody that just wanted to get rid of it out of their backyard, and it was a bunch of chicken wire, hardware cloth, lumber, uh, concrete blocks, all kinds of different things. We took 2 trips. We did one the day before, and then finished it up yesterday with the last of it yesterday morning. And we got a lot of material, a lot of good material. We got a lot of crap material too that's got to be burned, but that's okay. That's easy enough out here. And but that helps restock everything I'm going to be doing back in the chicken coop area and things like that, and other projects that we might have to come about. Now, when I start the teardown process of the old chicken coop, once I get my broody hens out of there, um, if you don't know what that means, a broody hen, they'll just sit on the nest all day long. They'll get up occasionally to go get water, and if you're not giving them some food, they will go get their water and stuff like that. But they're sitting on the eggs to hatch the eggs. And so that's how we've been doing it, letting them hatch our eggs here lately. And we've ended up with 12 chickens from them. We've done the whole incubator thing, and it's just not working out for us. So, at least not the ones that we're using anyway, because it's got the rotation section to it that keeps them rotating, and it keeps them the humidity level at a certain height, all that good stuff for the eggs. But we haven't been able to hatch one yet. But we just let our broody chickens do it, and they're hatching them left and right. So I think we've got 2 broody hens right now that are sitting on. I know one's sitting on 6 eggs, and the other one's sitting on about 10 eggs. So we'll see what happens there. See if we have any more chicks. We just had one hatch while I was out. A little light colored one. Don't know what color it's going to be yet, but it starts out as yellow. We've had 2 that started out as yellow. And so we'll see. So we'll see what colors it comes out. We've been getting some great colors here lately. Um, so we know our IOM was one of the ones out there that got hatched, but it's not a full on IOM tsunami because we don't have a black rooster to go with it. The black eyed, black tongue, all the black skin and all that good stuff. That's what an IOM tsunami is. And they're very cool birds, but we just don't have a rooster anymore. It passed on a long time ago. But we do have, the female still, and you can see the colors in one of the chicks out there. That's the iridescent colors that she has. So that's pretty cool. All right. So, getting back into the routine of everything, getting back in the groove. I've got artwork projects that I'm working on, and, you're trying to offload artwork as well, especially your old stock and things like that, all your originals and things like that. And got big sales going on with those. If you're interested, you can always see what I've got. I've got plenty of videos out there. The 2 items behind me are up as well. So any of that stuff you're interested in, let us know. But just to get back to that balance of everything that you weren't balancing before, and you're wanting to change things up, it becomes a task, because where do you start? I'm going to go through my entire kitchen, rip it apart, and get rid of anything that we don't use, anything that we've never touched, as far as pots, pans, dishes, anything like that goes. It's gone. It's history. That's going to be one of my first steps in declutterization and balance, because that's a chore. Once you open up your space, you have room to move things around and put things off of the cabinet top up into your cabinets, off your countertops up into your cabinets. And we all have those dishes that we never touch. We all have those pots or pans that just sit there and collect dust, and that's all they're good for. And we've got plenty of things like that, you know, thinking, oh, this will be neat to have. Oh, this will This will come in handy. And then you just don't touch it. It becomes stuff that you wanted, you had to have for whatever reason, and then you just never sit there and touch it. You never use it. And it's just like, well, why did I end up buying that in the first place, you know? And just like a lot of the clothes in my closet, since I wear my own brand now, I don't even touch half the stuff in my closet. You know, I've got a shirt, pretty much a shirt a day that I can wear and never run out of clothes from my own supply. So why do I need all the other stuff in my closet? You know? Excuse me. And that is a lot of different things. That is, you know, a lot of shirts that I've collected over the years of my favorite, you know, either bands or comic books or, you know, whatever. And it's just like, well, I don't even touch them. Now, once football season kicks off, I'll be wearing, you know, those type of shirts and things like that on the lives, especially if it is game day or something like that. But other than that, 90% of the stuff in my closet anymore, I don't even touch, you know? And it's just like, well, less fortunate needs some clothes, right? So there's donation options, there's all kinds of different things. Just like my mother's going to have to go through all of my stepdad's stuff, all of her husband's stuff since he passed away, and decide what she's going to do with all of his clothes. Now, I'm sure she's going to keep some sentimental pieces and things like that, but for the most part, she's probably going to end up getting rid of 80% of his stuff when it comes to his clothing, because what is she going to do with it, you know? And I know some people hold on to their beloved's clothing after they pass for way too long, and um, and so it just sits there and collects dust because those drawers never get opened again, the closet never gets opened again, you know, all that type of thing. But you know, since she's moved into his bedroom uh, prior to him passing, because he was in the hospital for almost 3 months, she's gonna have to do something if that's the place she's gonna stay. You know, she's got to have drawer space. She's got to have closet space for her stuff that she wants to wear. You know, and things like that. So, um, so that's a chore that's going to have to come down the pike for her too. Deciding what she's keeping, what she's getting rid of. You know, all those type of things. And we all have to go through that. You know, because like me right now, I'm knock on wood going to pass away anytime soon, but right now is the time to start paring down. Get down to the stuff that you wear on a regular basis and get rid of the stuff that you don't. Yeah, I know there's those opportunities. It's like, well, I might wear that because, you know, I could be going to this, I could be going to that, I could be going to a premiere, you know, and I understand that. You can have like one or two pieces that are like that you can keep on the back burner, but why do you need 15? You know, of something I might wear later on down the line to a gala or you know any type of event, a wedding, a funeral, you know those type things. I've got one suit that I would wear. The rest I can get rid of. Um, Hell, since I haven't been in stepped inside of a church in forever, um, and that was the only reason I had a suit for. Why do I even have a suit? The only times I've worn my suits are because of the job I had or church. That's it. And I don't do either of those anymore. So why do I even have the suit? You know. So that's. I think I've got three suits in my closet, and I can get rid of two, 100% with no questions. The third one cost me a little bit more, so it's gonna stay. if that makes any sense. Um, and it's just one of those things that, yeah, it did cost me a little bit. And if I had to get rid of it, I could get rid of it. It'd be no problem. And so, I'm not sentimental on certain things. There are certain shirts and things like that that would be sentimental to me, to keep because they were given to me by certain people or things like that. Just like I've got some memorial shirts for my sister and my son in my closet right now that I I'll never get rid of just because of the sentimental value to them. And it's like, okay, that's a box all into itself, and it's an old military box at that used to house ammo in it, but that has turned into a memorial box for shirts, basically. Now, do I need all the shirts that are in there? Probably not. But again, they still have. You're very welcome. Someone was thanking me for my service. You're very welcome. And so it's just like there are certain sentimental things that we're going to hold on to, no matter what. Now, if I started getting rid of all of my artwork off the wall, yeah, it would be painful. But thank you, and we appreciate it because some of us don't get the love and respect that, you know, all that good stuff. And but it's to be expected on certain aspects because some people just don't like veterans or military personnel. Period. You know, and all that goody good stuff. So, but like I said, if I ever got rid of anything off my wall for as far as artwork goes, I wouldn't be heartbroken over most of it. I mean, yeah, a lot of it I got way back in the '90s whenever I was going to comic book conventions more readily and more steadily. Um, and some of these guys have passed on that I'm looking at on my wall, and some of them are still around. And then some of them, like that one, I still don't know who it is because I don't recognize the signature at all, and it's not legible for the most part, you know. And and so it's of Catwoman, but I have no idea who it is. I should have wrote on the back whenever I was had it done, but all that good stuff. I have no clue who it is. But like Joe Jusko or Max Ledoux or Stephen Hughes, Jason Jensen, Marat Michaels, Art Nichols right here, um, Guy Gilchrist, all these originals that I've got sitting here on my wall, and I've got several more that I need to get framed and on the wall too. But I just haven't done that either. I've got some Ken Hunt originals. I've got four of those. I've got one over back over here, the Death Dealer warm up the sketch that he did one day. Since we're friends on Facebook, and I was like, "How much?" And he was like, um, gave me a price, and I was like, "Sold," you know. And so I got it in the mail not too long thereafter, and so it's pretty cool. I mean, because the people I know and the industry I'm in, being an illustrator, painter as well, these are my paintings back here of Ozzy. I need to change those out for something else. So, James O'Barr, original, the creator of The Crow. The tragic story that he went through to create The Crow, number one. And, yes, the old Brandon Lee version. Not just yet, Mr. Terrific. I'm biding my time on that just because, yeah, I've missed being at the convention scene, but there's so much stuff that I want to do before I get back into the convention scene. Um, Meaning I've got my comic book in the works. Yes, absolutely, absolutely. Everything I've got as far as my artwork is up for grabs. You know, and you can hit me up for what I've got. 90% of what I've got is out there on my page right now. So if you follow me, you can find pretty much all of my artwork out there. I sell them on all my social medias. I have a website which is attached to my profile as well. Um, but everything, it all just depends on the size and the piece. So, but yeah, yeah, you can hit me up at any point in time. You know how to eat an elephant one bite at a time. Absolutely. Yep, no problem. That's fine. The economy is in the tank right now. No one has the money or wants to make deals. No, I get that. But I see people spending money left and right on artwork all the time. Um, and unfortunately, I'm seeing a lot of people buy AI shit on a regular basis, which has no thought process to it whatsoever. And I'm not an AI fan. I never will be an AI fan. 11.2 is where we are at, Mr. Casey. Yes, absolutely 100%. We are at 11.2 thousand likes, which puts us in the popular live category. So appreciated on all of that side note and all that good stuff. But I'm seeing people buy artwork and stuff left and right. Um, just like I did a social experiment a while back showing, my mother needed some help. This was before my stepdad passed away, you know, and it's like I put out a call for help for her because her ceiling caved in. It's all on my page and stuff like that. Oh, it's already working out. I get commissions on a regular basis, so I'm not worried about it. I'm on two book covers, two novels, getting ready to hit my third novel cover here pretty soon, and I'll tell you about that social experiment here in a second, Sierra. And I'm getting ready to work on a third book cover for somebody else. I'm on many different comic book covers right now, and all of these were commissioned works that people came to me for. So I'm not hurting to be out there in, you know, the limelight for sitting behind a table and talking to people, but I love doing that. And yes, I've got, like I said, uh, let me just pull it. Let me just pull this up real fast. Right here. This is one of my books that I'm on the cover of, a novel, Sour Worlds, Calamities, right there by James Bishop. That's my artwork on the cover. Dun, dun, dun. And cover number 2 is getting ready to be available soon. He's actually running a contest for his books right now. Um, okay, the social experiment. I put out a call for help for my mother because her ceiling caved in. Um, the drywall fell off the rafters and the ceiling. And yeah, it's a friend of mine, the guy that's the author of that book. He is doing a contest right now on his page, James Bishop, and you can go check him out on Facebook. Um, so I put out a call for help. She didn't quite have the money to cover her roof cost, all that good stuff, and well, thank you. Um, and so nobody pitched in. Period. Absolutely nobody. And I had it out there for quite a while. And so I did a whole other thing about, how OF females can say, hey, I'm getting ready to get kicked out of my house. I'm getting ready to, lose this, or I just need a coffee or whatever. And people open up their wallets and just start throwing money at them, you know? Oh, aloha, because Hawaii is pretty awesome out there. And it's on my Facebook page, which is a link to my social here on my profile page here. Aloha from Hawaii. Are you on the Big Island or are you on Oahu? Oahu was awesome. I can't lie. I was there for 3 weeks with the military training Tropic Thunder out there. So absolutely, absolutely. But it was just a social experiment because, like I said, and good morning, love. Good morning, Tammy. We'll call you by name. And yes, you're right. And the people are out there. And I get a lot of people that say, "Well, like we just saw, no one's buying artwork in the economy right now, blah blah blah," or "No one's buying things in the economy." But that's not true. People are buying stuff left and right. Yeah, I know. It sucks that you got to be that you got to be heading to work on a Sunday. And so it's just like, no, people put priorities on where they want to spend their money. It's just like whenever they go to a comic book convention, they'll stop by your booth, say, "Oh, I wish I had more money, and I would buy everything you had, or I'd buy a lot of these originals and things like that." And you're like, "Cool," and they say, "Well, we'll probably be back." Well, whenever you do see them come back, they're walking off with a $300 sword. Okay, so you came to the comic book convention to buy that sword. You didn't come to buy other things, and you could have just said that in the beginning. Hey, I'm here to purchase, a certain specific item, but I do like your stuff. Let me get your information so I can, purchase something from you down the road. And so those are the type of things that you have to deal with on a regular basis. And that's because you're in competition to get people's money with the other people selling stuff. Absolutely. No, I get that. No, that's what they went there to buy initially. Because some people, that they add it to their cosplay collection, or they just need it because they're a big fan of that particular anime. Those type things like what is it, Demon Slayer? Demon Slayer has a ton of swords in it, and there's several different companies that make the swords that you can purchase, and that's what people look for, especially the double blades for Inosuke, um, the little pig head guy uh, that wears a pig's head and all that good stuff. But yeah, I've done all that before. I've set up in libraries. I've set up at the artisans fairs and things like that here locally. I did that for a season and did okay. Um, but you had to deal with the weather, especially being outdoor events. And we got they should have canceled on one day because it just ruined a lot of people's stuff. But it just poured down rain, and they canceled the event anyway. And I haven't done concerts yet, but I've thought about it. It's just the problem is whenever you're getting into things like that, like the fair or concerts, I don't have a beach around here. I'm in Arkansas, so I don't have a beach readily close. If I was going to the beach, that'd have to be all the way down in Texas or Alabama, Louisiana, those type places like that. So to hit the beach, um, is the price. Concerts and vendors at a fair are astronomical. Um, you can't just set up for free. You know, I think at the fair the minimum is $1,200 to set up. You know, and yeah, I mean it could be, but then you gotta look at those states' policies. Do you have to have a permit? Do you have to have this? Do you have to set up? Those type things. So the mall, the mall, they want a business plan, even on their little kiosks that they set up in the middle. Um, you have to have, you know, you got to buy it. You got to rent their little thing. Absolutely. That's what I talk about. Going to comic book conventions isn't cheap. You've got your booth rental, which could be anywhere between $400 to $1,200, depending on where you're setting up, just for your table. Then you've got your travel cost if it's out of state, or those type of things, which is gas money, food, and then hotel cost if you don't have your own little RV. So by the time you get to the convention, you have to make up close to $2,000 before you even break even at the show, which I've done really well at most of my shows. There's only been probably a handful of shows that I possibly broke even or came in just under breaking even, just because they were just not great shows. Location of your booth helps as well, so on and so forth like that. So you still have to pay. I have done flea markets with my artwork before. Um, because I've incorporated the artwork with um, the other stuff, you know, such as all of the different action figures and comic books and things like that. Flea markets, they're okay. Um, Flea markets have tons of customers. To be honest, a lot of people go. Whenever we're in any of the flea markets that we go into, there's lots of customers walking around them. Oh yeah, absolutely. People love flea markets. People love flea markets. They love antique stores. They love retro markets and things like that. Absolutely, absolutely. We have one boutique. I say it's a boutique. It's called Brick City Emporium here in town. Uh, there's several booths that is nothing but artwork, and they do fine. They're still set up in there. Well, no, you get all kinds of class of people going to those places. Sierra, and they they love to look at everything. Whenever we're there, we look at everything. You know, and am I just looking for antiques? Absolutely not. I sell mine everywhere. Like I said, all social medias, as well as my name's out there left and right. Like I said, on novels, on comic books. No, I get it. I get it. I understand that you don't go there to buy artwork, but hopefully somebody's artwork catches your eye whenever you do walk through one of those places. You know, art hop, huh? That sounds like IHOP for artwork. But I am gonna write that down. I just don't like the fees that a lot of places incorporate with, and that's why you have to balance how you go to comic book conventions and things like that. Because I was doing anywhere between 2 to 3 a month for a hot minute there in 2024 before I revamped everything, and it gets expensive, it gets time consuming, and yes, you can recoup your losses that you have to pay out in the beginning. And everywhere you go to sell artwork, you've got to have your proper paperwork for. You know, and I've been doing this a long time. I've been doing this since 2017. So, you know, I'm not hurting for sales. Trust me. And you're not the first person to approach me to ask me to help me out. So, oh yeah, yeah, yeah. No, I get you. I get you, Sierra. I'm not throwing you under the bus or anything like that. I'm just letting you know. And Mr. Terrific, yeah, absolutely. And like I said, I've rented booths at flea markets. I've rented booths at antique stores. And that's why I say I incorporate my artwork with the stuff that I'm selling as well, because I usually do a a nerd booth, if you will. It's got comic books, it's got action figures, Hot Wheels, all kinds of different things, plus a few antiques depending on the location and things like that. So, is that who the art hop is? Excuse me. Is that how it works in California? I don't know. I've never been to California. That's one state I've never been to. I've thought about going there a couple times, but it's just like never happened. And so, there you go. Now, it's kind of like the Paseo in Oklahoma City. It's a whole art community up there in Oklahoma City, and they deal in nothing but artwork of all kinds: sculptures, paintings, illustrations, all that goody good stuff. And sounds almost like the same thing, but they're in physical buildings. They do have some people that are out on the sidewalk and things like that. And so it sounds almost like the same thing, the art hop. But that's cool. That'd be a cool little place to check out. I would definitely check it out before I set up there. Ask questions and things like that. It sounds like Etsy, here whenever you're doing online stuff. I just don't like the fees that everybody incorporates with everything, like eBay, Macari. Macari's not horrible. eBay's getting horrible when it comes to selling anything online because there's the 13% fee and all that stuff by the time it's all said and done. And then if you use their labels, you know, you're astronomical on shipping costs. You know, no, I get that, and there are certain locations that will let you do that, but there's states have that you have to have permits for certain things, and it's just like Oklahoma has panhandling permits that you have to get if you're going to panhandle. Well, that kind of makes sense. I mean, that would have, in certain ways, kind of monopolized a lot of things if GameStop had bought eBay, um, especially for GameStop. That would have driven out a lot of places like Game Exchange and any other gaming spots out there, just because they would have had the market on, you know, a global economy when it came to eBay for everything that they had or needed. And so, well, it's kind of like the proposal where Netflix or somebody was going to be bought by Paramount or vice versa or whatever it was, and somebody else came in and was like, "No, I want to purchase it," and they were like, "No, no." No, I get that too. We have that as well, where you can, where people set up you know, um, their free puppy stands or to sell puppies and things like that. And then of course you've got all of the band booster stuff with the candies and the sausage and the blue and gold sausage and all that good stuff. Now I get all that. That's completely different commerce when it comes to all of that. Not yet. I'm gonna literally have to tear my roof apart, on the inside, just to find where that leak is, Casey. So, you know, yep, yep. In Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, you can find those places too. Um, all over. You can find them out there doing that type of thing. You get pop up knife stands from homemade knives and stuff like that. No, the certain things you only get paid for. You don't get all of the those cool amenities like that. Just because I'm a veteran doesn't mean everything gets paid for. Trust me. No, that the roof. No, they won't pay for the roof. So that's on my insurance and all that good stuff. And my roof is only 4 years old. The company just sucked that put it down. Um, Absolutely 100% sucked. I had words with the guy whenever he first put the roof down in the first place 4 years ago. Um, Whatnot auctions. I haven't done that. I've actually got a Whatnot account, but I just haven't done it yet because I get mixed reviews on those. Um, with everybody that's all that good stuff. No, when it came to that, it was just a one and done thing for him. Um, because that's how I bought the house. It had to have a new roof to buy the house in the first place. And now, 4 years in, it's starting to leak in my office, which is very evident up there as it's slung goo around my office, actually, this direction. Um, and I've still got cleanup to do from that while I was out. Oh, I've already. I'm already in a bunch of artwork groups, those type things, and I see a lot of people's cool artwork, and they get to see mine, and all that goody good stuff. And I'm posted on a regular basis when it comes to my artwork, and I even get violations here on TikTok Shop or TikTok because I don't sell on the TikTok Shop, just because I don't want them getting a cut. You know, I know that. And the problem is it keeps raining, so it's hard to get up there and check things out in between the rain. 20.2 thousand likes is where we're at in the popular live category, so much appreciated to everybody out there. uh, Trust me, I'm everywhere and I've seen everything. So, you know, um, and when I say I'm in groups, I'm in a ton of groups. You know, and when it comes to artwork groups and comic book artwork groups and comic comic artists or comic book uh, writers and artists seeking, you know others, of like mind and stuff like that, all that I'm in, you know so that's why I keep my name pretty relevant out there, uh, which is Monty Anderson. There you go. I try to keep up with the nuances of things out there when it comes to where to get my name out there, and look for new work and things like that. So, and I'm on people's list, because they're like, "Hey, can we hit you up later for a different project?" I'm like, "Absolutely." You got my info, so just hit me up when you want to. So, do I wish I was on more comic book covers? I do, but at the same time, I'm listening to a friend of mine who is a colorist in the industry. He works for Marvel and DC and Image and all that good stuff. And I am not doing any Stranger Things projects. I'm actually getting ready to hit an Evil Ernie project once I finally get the blanks in. They were supposed to have already been here, and they were like, "Well, sorry, they're not there yet. We've had some snags and stuff like that." Well, the deadline's coming up, dude, for this card project. Okay. Um, but no, I haven't done any new Stranger Things projects as of late. From The Walking Dead, you know, right there. And that's this whole stack of The Walking Dead, Stranger Things, right there. Hopper with 11, with 11, with Will, and with the Demogorgon, right there. All official, all licensed. Dawn, Chaos, again, all licensed projects. Had to pass through the creators' hands, especially of Dawn and Chaos, before they were approved. But no, I've worked on several projects like that. You don't know Stranger Things? But no, Evil Ernie, old Chaos character that's getting ready to move into Coffin Comics. I think Brian Paluto is actually going to retain the rights to Evil Ernie again. I think he had to pay a pretty penny. I do not have any paintings of the U.S. flag on them. It's not something that would be hard to do, depending on what you wanted. But we can always talk about, a price and a size and all that good stuff. Mainly my artwork is dark. It is horror related or comic book related. And there hasn't been a whole lot of call for American flag stuff, if you will. And I would love to see more people doing that type of thing. Calling for the American flag and things like that. But I get it. There are people that don't like that sort of thing, and that would never stop me from doing it. Just like I saw a crazy AI video posted out there that had a HOA group that was discussing how a specific flag couldn't be put up, and then they also said the American flag couldn't be put up either because it offended people. It was just like, if I lived in that HOA, there'd be a lot of lawsuits. Let's just put it that way, because ain't nobody telling me to take down an American flag. 100%. I've got one flying in my front yard right now. I've got one on my truck right now. You know, I do have clothing that has the American flag on it too. Again, it just depends on the size, and we can talk off air because I don't want to get a violation, and because that's what happens whenever we start talking about that type of stuff on air. Their AI algorithm will flag us, all that good stuff, so we can talk in a chat, in a DM, and I'll send you one after the show. But yeah, no, that was a complete AI craziness video, and it was just like, yeah, that would not fly in my hood. Oh, I'm sure, and you get that a lot. Um, it because I mean, see right here on my own desk, I've got one, you know, that goes on one of my uniforms that I don't wear anymore, but I've got it readily available to look at, and it's on my workout bag. I've got one there too. I will. I'll probably wait till it goes to streaming though. I've heard mixed reviews about it. I've heard that it's amazing. I've heard that it sucked. I've heard, and you get that about every movie until you see it yourself. Mr. Fantastic. So it would never fly in the town I live into. You see all the flag stuff where I live. People drive around with flags. Oh, absolutely. Yeah, we get that too. I haven't seen that yet either. Again, mixed reviews on it. Um, and unfortunately, everybody has their own opinion. You know, when it comes to the horror movies that they like, that they don't like, and I'm still waiting for that one that's going to scare me. I'm 54 years old. Will be 55 this year, and it's just like I haven't found one that scared me yet. You know, I mean, sure, as a little kid watching some horror movies from back in the day, yeah, I'm sure I got freaked out, scared with those. But as an adult, I've seen more horror stories in real life than I have on what they've unfolded on the movies. You know, but I'm gonna watch both of those movies, and I'll give you an opinion on those later on. I've seen people in town that have a flag literally painted across their truck. Absolutely. Here in Arkansas and Oklahoma, you get those curb painters that put the house number on the curb, so it's easier seen. And I see American flags with those. I see different aspects of that, all over the place. See, the American flag is very relevant everywhere, but you do have those groups that just don't like it, for whatever reason. And for those that don't like it, pack your bag and take off. That's all I can tell you. That's all I can say. But no, Mr. Fantastic, yeah, I want to see both of those movies just because of the mixed reviews that I've been watching on those. And I think they're getting ready to do, already in the works of talking about, a number 8 for Scream. Uh, it's just one of those franchises that's never going to end because you can have so many different roles and characters doing the ghost face that that franchise could never end. It's kind of like Friday the 13th, with Jason and all that good stuff. How we're at what, 12 or 13 movies. Halloween, that was supposedly the last one. Halloween ends, but I don't think that's going to be the last one because you just transferred the power to somebody else. Um, some franchises just need to stop. In my opinion. I mean, you get to a point where you just gotta stop. You know, I made a Ghostface shirt saying, "No, you hang up first." See, I've got my whole new horror concepts going on. I don't even know where I've got them right now. I've got stuff scattered everywhere right now. Yeah, yeah. Him and Bruce Lee together, doing their stuff. I just saw a old classic Hulk versus B.A. Baracus from the A Team going at each other with Lou Ferrigno and of course as the Hulk and Mr. T is B.A. Baracus and it it's just getting ridiculous with the AI shit out there. My dad loves Bruce Lee a little too much, lol. But you see, B.A. Baracus just punching the hell out of the Hulk, and then the Hulk just grabs B.A. Baracus, throws him over his shoulder, and then just chunks him into the A Team van. And it's just like, come on, guys. And then does the whole Hulk thing with his muscles up and all that good stuff. Just like, come on, guys, do better, do better. I get a lot of stuff sent to me that's AI generated, and it's just like, nah, nah, I'm good. But I don't use AI. I turn off AI as much as possible on my computers, on my phone. It goes, hey, do you want to use the AI suggest? I'm like, no thanks. You know, yeah, there's a ton, and of course you get a lot of people that don't like Chuck Norris or Bruce Lee either. So you know, and I've always liked both. I hated whenever he passed away on set of one of his movies. Just like his son Brandon on the set of The Crow, and it's just sad whenever those people go too early. Chuck Norris lived a good life, a long life. It just sucks that he did pass on this early in life, if you will, at 80. What was he, 83 or something like that? No, I get that. I mean, AI is good for certain things and certain things only. Now, when it comes to music and artwork and things like that, no, it should never be used for that. But you're getting so many artists that are becoming AI artists that it's not even funny, and they're becoming popular. Well, what are you going to do whenever people want to book you for gigs? You going to stand up there and let your AI videos play while you stand on stage? I mean, I don't know. You know, I am still working on that because it's not doing what I want it to do, if that makes sense. Um, so I'm going to have to take my into my old Adobe product that does not use AI like the new stuff does, because I use CS4 still. I'm going to have to take it into Procreate over there, um, and make it do what I want it to do. So yeah, the hologram is not working just yet, but it's still right over there. And so once I am able to get that up and running, I'll be dangerous with it. And then I just saw a new projector type of a situation that could be kind of cool. That does 3D projections as well. Uh, oh, I know. I get that 100%. But they're not soul. They have no soul. They're lifeless. They're cold, and I just don't understand why anybody would want it. That's why a lot of comic book conventions are banning AI artwork from the conventions. And if they find out that you're selling AI artwork, even if you paid for your booth, you're getting kicked out. And then they'll leave a sign. This creator was using AI artwork and got kicked out, which I think is awesome. And so do a lot of other artists out there. But then you get a lot of digital creators that are creating their stuff legit and getting called out as AI artwork. So, and I've seen a lot of artists calling out other artists, and then I'll go look at their stuff, and you can literally watch them on their Instagram page or whatever page doing the artwork, you know. And there's one person out there in particular, and I'm not going to call them out, but they're like, man, I'm not going to call out any more AI artists. If you see it and want to call it out, that's fine, because he got busted for calling out some people that he shouldn't have been calling out. Is my opinion on the situation, because there was a couple that he was calling out that were on some DC comic book covers, and then I went to the person's page, and they're literally drawing the piece, painting the piece, all that good stuff. And it's like, so you just called them out only to get called out yourself as a hypocrite, because they're doing the work, and their work is 10 times better than yours. Yeah, you get a lot of work when it comes down to it, but your stuff is still pretty stiff. Um, and again, I'm not going to call out who the person is, just because they're a big name in the indie world and all that good stuff. But um, and they're finally getting some work on some you know collaborations through a comic shop who's working with Image Comics, or so on and so forth and stuff like that. So the colorist makes this person look great. I'm just throwing that out there. Because if you looked at their pencil work to their ink work, the colorist is saving their ass, 100%. So, and luckily the colorist is in the industry. They work for DC and Marvel and Image Comics and things like that. So, you know, it's just one of those deals that if they didn't have the colorist that they had, their stuff would be shit. And I'm just being real, just being honest, because that's what you got to be in this world. I don't have a big head. I know some of my stuff is shit, absolutely 100%, and I don't do some of my best work all the time, but I give the effort in there. You know, just like this 18 by 24 God of War piece that I'm working on over here, while I'm in the midst of working on 3 other commissions as well. So it's like, yeah, I take on a lot of artwork, I take on a lot of commissions, but they get done, you know, and they look great. Now, does every one of them look great? No, not every one of them looks great. And I'm trying to see where my other stuff is. Hold on just a second. I gotta move some things around. Sorry, guys. So I can find these. What I want to show you. Because right here is some of my latest artwork to go get ready to go out. Emma Frost on the cover of a comic book. Yes, that's on a blank cover of an actual comic book right there. But that's Emma Frost, the White Queen, right there. And then my new horror series kickoff of Ghostface. They're all gonna have this blood swoop going down on them right here. Jay, no, Jason's already sold. Freddy here. This is number 2. Jason was number 3, and he already sold. Pumpkinhead, number 4. Candyman number 5. And I've still got more to go in this series. He's going to have bees and blood, since that's one of the ways that he was taken out in the movie. The original movie. Well, even the new remake they did. And this is one of the characters from the James Bishop book, the Calamities book. This is called The Knot. 30.1 thousand likes, sir. 30.1 thousand likes. This is The Knot. He is a tree-based character, kind of like Man-Thing or Swamp Thing. But he's got smoke and all kinds of other stuff coming out of his pores. And this is another one of his characters called the Harrow from the book 2. He's got rusted metal wings. He's got razor wire. Every woman's heartthrob out there, with that 12-pack ab going on. And then you got me as Wolverine from the comic book Wolverine number 1. Yes, I posed for this picture. Me-self. Yes, this one's already inked up, ready for the colors from the original book, if you've ever seen that one. And then, of course, a character I didn't know existed until now, which was 4 years ago. The Harley Who Laughs, based off the Batman Who Laughs. This is one of her looks, with the knife mask that she wears up here. And then the other, I guess this was the first derivative of her, with a metal mask with the diamonds in it. And the spikes coming out of her skin. Right there. And then, of course, everybody's favorite, the Batman Who Laughs. I'm decided I'm going to put in a lot more detail in the background as well, because a lot of mine just has no depth to it, depth of field, if you will. So I am putting in a lot more depth to the background. Now, this one is the bane of my existence right now. It is a piece everybody's heard about so far. We were technically almost 5 months in before I even saw a payment to this. And it is a memorial piece to a friend of mine who passed away. And there is my restriction already. And I'm not redirecting anybody, TikTok. You can fuck off. But it is a memorial piece to a friend of mine who passed away at the end of December. And her boss decided he wanted to do a memorial piece for her. And we just happen to both know her. And it is Stitch Witch. It is Stitch from Lilo and Stitch as a witch, because she liked Stitch, and she also was a Wiccan. So she was a literal witch. So this is the piece I've got working up. It's not finished yet, but it is close. And to date, I haven't got much money for it yet. So he just made another payment just yesterday of $12. Yay. You know, and had he been paying the $25 a month for 5 months, he would have been paid off. You know, but that's neither here nor there. So there you go. Sierra, I'll be talking to you after the show. I'll send you a message here in a little bit. But that is it, folks, for getting back in the groove of all things. Balancing things out, getting back in the groove of working, and all of that goody good stuff. But we appreciate your time, your effort here, and we love each and every one of you guys. And as I like to say, as I leave you guys, we will catch you on the flip side. Have a good day, everybody.